Welcome into Scoop and Score. My name's Tanner, and today I'm going to be breaking down number 6 Alabama at number 10 LSU, Saturday, November the 5th at 7 p.m. on ESPN. And with both this game as well as the Tennessee versus Georgia game both being this weekend, I think it's pretty safe to say that the SEC championship game matchup will be pretty set in stone come around 10:30 or 11 Saturday night. So with that being the case, let's go ahead and get into this game, get into the numbers. Alabama comes into this game with the number 4 scoring offense in the country, averaging 43.1 yards per point. They're going up against what I would call a good but not great LSU defense. Alabama comes into this game averaging 5.9 yards per carry, 7.7 yards per pass attempt, and 7.0 yards per play. LSU allows 77.3% of opponent rush averages, 93% of opponent pass averages, and 84.4% of opponent total averages, which by those numbers, LSU's defense is a little bit better than the raw numbers. They've played a lot of good offenses if you go back and look at the raw statistics. Alabama players to watch for on offense in this game are going to be Bryce Young, obviously a Heisman candidate, even with the game that he missed. Dude's probably the best in the country at just getting away from pressure and just making plays out of nothing. Next player to watch for Bama is going to be Jahmyr Gibbs. I think might be one of the best running backs in the country, certainly in the top 5. You can make an argument for Blake Corum. You can make an argument for Bijan Robinson. There's a few other guys that just aren't coming to the top of mind, but without a doubt, Jahmyr Gibbs is certainly in the conversation for best running back in the country. A couple other players to watch for Bama are going to be their 2 leading receivers, Ja'Cory Brooks and Jermaine Burton. LSU's pass defense is probably the weakness of their defense, so I think Bama's going to look to move the ball through the air. And Jahmyr Gibbs is one of the best running backs in the country at catching the ball out of the backfield. I think he might lead running backs in receiving yards. He's right up there. But anyway, let's go ahead and flip sides of the ball here. We'll talk about the LSU offense against the Bama defense a little bit here. LSU comes to this game averaging 4.5 yards per carry, 7.4 yards per pass attempt, and 5.9 yards per play. Alabama allows 55.8% of opponent rush averages. They allow 81.6% of opponent pass averages and 71.2% of opponent total averages. And I think LSU's offense is probably going to be a little bit of a key to the game, and we'll talk about that in a second here. But I do want to talk about some players to watch for LSU. The first being Jayden Daniels. And this might sound a little crazy, but if LSU wins this game, I think Jayden Daniels is going to vault himself right into the Heisman discussion at least. He's there statistically already. If you go and look at his statistics, when I looked into the statistics for this game, he surprised me quite a bit. I don't think he can win or will win the Heisman, but again, statistically, he should at least be in the conversation. And I think a win here in this game gets him to New York just straight up. Again, I think with the 2 losses, I don't think they're going to be in the national title hunt, and it's going to be hard for him to win the Heisman, but I think he'll be there if they win this game. So anyway, Jayden Daniels, obviously the quarterback for LSU. He's also LSU's leading rusher. Other than him, LSU takes a running back by committee approach. The 2 leading rushers out of those are Josh Williams and Armani Goodwin. And then my last player to watch for LSU is going to be Malik Neighbors. Sorry, I can't talk today. Malik Neighbors, who is by far LSU's leading receiver. So let's go ahead and talk about a little bit about the Vegas line, who's favored to win this game, what the model thinks, and etc. Vegas has this game as Alabama as a 13.5 point favorite at the making of this video. The over-under on this game is at 56.5. ESPN's FPI has Alabama as a 76.4% chance to win, LSU being a 23.6% chance to win. And that tells me that FPI sees this game a little bit closer than Vegas. Not a lot, but a little bit. A 14-point favorite should usually be around an 80% chance to win typically, so maybe a little bit higher than 81 or 80%, 81, 82, anywhere in there. So that tells me with Alabama being at 76.4 that ESPN's FPI has this game probably around a 11 to 12 point favorite for Alabama. So anyway, let's talk about how does LSU pull the upset. And there's actually, I talked about it in my Alabama versus Tennessee preview when I talk about Alabama. There's actually a pretty proven 2-step plan to beating Alabama. Every team that's beaten Alabama except for one, that being Tennessee this year, has done 2 things. They you have to get 8 yards per pass attempt against Alabama. Every team that's beaten them since 2015 has gotten 8 yards per pass attempt. And then every team except for Tennessee this year has won the turnover battle. So the two-step plan to beating Alabama is 8 yards per pass attempt and win the turnover battle. So let's go ahead and jump into the model, see what the model thinks, and see if the model thinks LSU can do that, and then we'll talk about my prediction. So the model has Alabama at 409 total yards, 4.5 yards per carry, 7.7 yards per attempt, 7.7 yards per pass attempt, sorry, and 5.9 yards per play. It has LSU at 310 total yards, 2.5 yards per carry, 6.1 yards per pass attempt, and 4.2 yards per play. And it has Alabama winning this game 34-20. It just thinks that LSU is going to struggle to run the ball, and I kind of agree. It does think LSU is going to be able to move the ball pretty efficiently through the air, or at least stay on the field, getting 4.2 yards per play and scoring 20. But it just thinks Alabama is going to be more successful both through the air and on the ground, and then just overall it thinks Alabama is going to be more efficient in this game. So yeah, the model has it at 34-20. Let's go ahead and jump into my prediction. And I actually have this game at 38-21 Alabama. And my initial gut pick on this game was that it was going to be close. I think I initially had this game at Alabama 35-31 in my head. But the more I've sat here and thought about it and think it through, I just don't think I don't think LSU has the skill on the outside to threaten Alabama. I think Alabama's going to shut down LSU's run game for the most part. And I just don't think LSU's, like I said, they don't have the skill on the outside to get that 8 yards per attempt that I talked about earlier. I do think LSU is going to keep this game close early, but I think Alabama pulls away pretty comfortably late in the third quarter and in the fourth quarter and the second half in general. So that's my prediction, 38-21. Give me your scores down below. And stay tuned. Later in the day, I'm going to be putting out a Clemson versus Notre Dame video. I know that game's not on a lot of people's radars, but in my opinion, it's one of the better games of the week, and it's one of the more interesting games of the week, I should say. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. I would appreciate it if you could leave me a like and subscribe. Give me your scores down in the comments below. I love talking about college football. I'll talk about college football anytime, anywhere, any topic. So anyways, thanks again for watching. Peace.